Hey folks, this is just a quick rundown on week one for our information management class. So we're working on week one, which just finished up. The big assignment you had was your All About Me presentation. It's listed here. And curious if how many of you are ever able to look at the helpful hints or the videos that I've created to try to help you with this. You can see this assignment is now locked. So if I try to get in there, it just says that I can't get in there anymore. Check out the video that I made yesterday and sent around, which shows you how to submit things into the Dropbox. So you have to attach, and then secondly, you have to submit. It looks like I think Dallin figured out that he just needed to use a different web browser, and part of that was because his whatever web browser he was using was caching some information and preventing him from being able to submit. So he used a different web browser or a different computer, and everything seemed to work fine. So anyway, just a few notes on the presentations that you were all creating. I was pretty impressed with just about everyone's attention to detail and trying to give other people a sense of who you are. So one of the things that I noticed was that there were a few different ways that folks had chosen to um, create their presentations. So one of the things that I noticed that stood out most loudly was one individual used this Visme. Well, I'll let you see it here. You can check the link here. Nobody used Prezi, which kind of surprised me, but Prezi is one of those ones that I typically see a couple students using. And then another one that I did not see any this semester was Adobe Spark. So sometimes I see folks using that. Perhaps somebody did, and then they just saved it as a PDF because we've had a few different presentations saved as PDFs. And a number of you used the Google Slides. So Google Slides it's a great free tool that's just about everywhere. Let me see if I can find a an example of this for you. So if you go to Google Drive and you click on New, this is what we're talking about. So Google Slides. You can use a blank presentation or you can start it from scratch. And many of you did do that, which is great. Um, let's see. And it seemed as though quite a number of you used PowerPoint, which is great. It's fine. It's pretty typical. The interesting thing about Google or Microsoft PowerPoint is that it's not installed on every computer. You could use the online version of it, and I believe Dallin ended up doing that with his. Let's go back and just see here. Dallin. Okay, so here's Dallin's link, and this is what the online version of PowerPoint Presenter looks like. So very, very similar, but he was able to get this online. I don't know if he created it there, but he used the online version of that, and obviously he chose to, see if I can get back here. He chose to submit a document which simply had the URL in it. So here's the URL, and Dallin, I don't know if he, again, I don't know if he created it online, but once he moved it online, he used the link, and I think there was a issue with size on that, so his presentation might have been too large. Okay, so a few things that I noticed on the presentations, I'll just kind of give them to you here, just some of the ones that I pulled up. Here's Dallin's online version. I had Jessica Weeds up here, or not Jessica Weed, Jessica Swallow. Jessica Weeds was quite good as well. This is the one I was using before. So you can notice I've got it stored in Google Drive. If I wanted to open it up with PowerPoint on the desktop, I can do it this way. and it will show up within PowerPoint. Here's another really interesting one. So this was one of the Visme presentation, well, the only Visme presentation, and that was from Talon Yates. And again, this is an online presentation tool. So the only way to really do this, there's no file really to upload to connect. So the way to do this is to create the document like this with a link. And this is what Talon had given me, which is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And this is what was in the instructions for this particular assignment too. Actually, let's come back here. I really enjoyed this, I don't know, this style of presentation where each of the slides had some sort of connecting theme to it. It was very readable. And you can see those little animations. Sometimes that's cute and cool. In this case, I think it was very effective. Here's Dallins. Again, here's a picture of him. I think the reason why I pulled this up was mostly because a picture speaks 1,000 words. I think you get it here. I don't need to say anything else, but sometimes people do too much with words, and that can become an issue. Here's one. Lots of images. One of the things that I wanted to point out here was that these are all very flat images, which is fine. I think it hits the emotions like we would want. But one of the things that you could do, if you notice here, I've actually changed this and I've added what's called a drop shadow in the format options. So you can alter your pictures to give them a little bit of depth by adding these real simple backgrounds. So here's the radius blur. So if I change that a little bit, it's really subtle, but you can still see it in the background. Perhaps on this video you might not be able to. But the way I got to this was I clicked on it, I right-clicked on it, I went to Format Options, and that's where all those tools show up. And you could do some recoloring if you want to as well. So you could turn these into black and white photos, which might actually help sometimes. You can also rotate these things. And there's one other thing that I wanted to show you. So this image right here, if I change this, people become different shaped. Sorry, Angel, I'm just wrecking your presentation. So here's the stretched out image. So just be really careful of doing those sorts of things. Let me put this thing back together here. Okay, one more. And we'll get rid of my drop shadows. I'm just undoing whatever I did. And now we're back to pretty much where the presentation was. Okay, so the other thing with this is you can reorder these. You can move these things backward, frontward, so that certain pictures show up. Okay, let's check out some other ones here. Videos. Videos seem to give some folks a little bit of an issue. There's a few different things you can do with videos. You can stick them directly into your presentation. The other thing you could do is you could put them onto your Google Drive and just have them as a file that you link to. And even better, you could utilize your YouTube account. So if you go to your email, this is kind of the simplest way to do it. You go to your email, click on the little Google Apps tic-tac-toe, and then just click on YouTube. And this is going to take you to your, I should switch this account, but I have a YouTube account that's connected to my CWC account. So everybody has this. Yeah, we all have YouTube accounts connected to our CWC accounts. So you can put them there, and the quick way to do that is just to upload your video. And it puts it into your account, and then you get a link to it. So if this is the video that we're going to use, we can share. we can copy the link, or we could choose to use the embed option. And there's some great videos on how to use embed. This is how you make your video actually play in your PowerPoint. So if you're just using a link, sometimes that's a much more difficult way to do that. So here's another student show that was presented. Pretty good. This is Nicole's. I thought this was very fascinating. So this is Elon's, and this is, he'll probably be able to tell us, but this Bilibili is probably a YouTube variant, and it's probably not YouTube. I believe in Chengdu, I'm not even sure they would have access to YouTube, but obviously they have just as good a technology. You can play this. I'd actually encourage you to go watch this. It's pretty cool. Here's another great video that of Chihuahua, the city of Chihuahua via drone shot. I thought that was pretty thoughtful as well. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And sometimes quotes like that can be really helpful in your videos. All right, one thing that I wanted to discuss briefly was to make sure that when you link videos or you add items into your presentation, that you also, if you're going to distribute this, that you provide people with permissions on everything. So you don't need to give them edit privileges, but what you want to make sure of is that they can actually view whatever it is that you are doing. So when you're creating this presentation, so this was a Google presentation, Google Slides, just make sure that all of the objects that are associated with that, other people can actually see this. So if I choose share and I go to advanced, and right now nobody has access to it, but I have all of these options. So when I share this with each one of you, you will probably receive the permissions via on for anyone at Central Wyoming College with this link. So in other words, I'll share this with you. I'll probably only give you view access because I don't want you editing other people's presentations at this point. But you can make your own copies of them, and then perhaps you can utilize some of the tools and tricks that they've used in theirs. I think it's important to remember that these are proprietary presentations. So what that means is you don't have the rights and privileges to share these with other people. So these are built for you, each of you in this class, to get to know each other. Okay, so we've already seen that one. We've already seen that one. We've already seen that. Okay, so one of the things that with the videos, it seems like people did this a variety of ways, but when you place a video directly into, let's just show you, we'll just show you this one. So if I chose to insert a video over here, I have a choice. I can do an online video or I can do a video on my PC. So if I had one, we could actually insert that video, and probably it would become part of the presentation itself. Well, that's an issue because sometimes those videos can be quite large, maybe a gigabyte or two. If you're inserting a full-length movie into here, it might be 10 gigabytes. Who knows? So you want to be really careful with that. If you're planning on using this for your own purposes, maybe it would be fine to just link to a video that's online like YouTube or Bilibili or what have you. If you're going to be using your laptop in a place where you do not have access to the internet, well then yeah, the presentation needs to be placed into the slideshow itself. So again, multiple different ways to do this. The other thing that I noticed, some of these presentations had videos that had a link to them. I don't have a good example in front of me, but it didn't actually play automatically. But you can, if you have a video, there is a way to automatically play that video using PowerPoint or using Google Slides. Um, okay, last thing that I wanted to show you here. So let me find Rivers presentation here. It gets down here. Okay, so here's Rivers. River Bryant presentation. Okay, so let me just download that while that's happening. You notice over here that this file is 42 megabytes large. So what that means is you won't be able to upload it to Connect, and you also won't be able to upload it, or you won't be able to email it to anyone either. So what you're kind of forced with is a few different choices. You can choose to um, shrink some of your videos or your photography that's inside of this, or you could store this online. And so I think the best way to do this is to figure out what's taking up the space. So let's go see what's taking up the space here. So if I go to the Google Drive, 2020, information management, all about me. Again, I'm downloading this as well. And there's Rivers. Okay, so this is what this presentation is going to look like. Maybe. It's working. Okay, so this is the presentation here. So 42 megabytes, and still opening this thing right now. Okay. So fairly large, and that's one of the problems with this, is when these get large, they become hard to work with. So F5 key takes you into the presentation format, and so difficult to work with because it's pretty large. So let me get out of here. And I'm having a hard time even getting out of here. So it even crashed the program. So let's try opening it up this way. So this one's stored locally on my computer. And again, it's still a really large presentation. No, I don't want to do that. So we'll see if this actually works. Okay, so here's the presentation from River. Okay. Hi, River. And here's, so difficult to actually work with. So one of the things that you could do is figure out where this problem is. So I don't really know at this point. So I'm going to suspect that it's the video. And I think that if we take the video, wherever that is, so that's a picture, and okay, so here we go. So my guess is that this is the video that's the problem. And if we go here to the video tools, you don't really have any options to edit video in this. So what I think I would do with this is I would figure out what the link was or where it was, and then I would insert the video via online video, and that's how I would work with this guy. And then the other one you can do is you can automatically, so right now you got to click it. The other way to do this is to just start it automatically, and we can even tell this to play full screen. So let's go back here, and Let's just see what happens here if it automatically plays. Okay, so that's one way to do that. So I think what I would do is I would um, alter that video, put it online on YouTube, on Google Drive, somewhere. I would link to it so that it actually will play automatically when I enter that slide. Instead of having that large speaker that's there, it would have the whole image there. I don't know where this one is located, but you could do that yourself. So it's part of this presentation, and I'm sure River has access to this. So again, put it on YouTube. You can embed it from YouTube. You can use the URL and insert it with PowerPoint. You can use Google Slides. Talon might have more information on the Visme. Dallin can probably help us figure out how to do that with the Office Online. But I think videos and photos can be kind of tricky. So just kind of keep that in mind. One of the other things that you can do is you can compress the media. And a lot of times this doesn't actually work, but if you click that, it gives you some options for how you want to do that. So if we did it presentation quality, and you can see that's the problem file, and it's almost 30 megabytes. Again, this is only with PowerPoint, the newer version of it. So it looks like we only save 0.12 megabytes. So videos aren't very effective in shrinking file sizes. That's why you kind of want to go with an online file. If you shot a 30-second video on an iPhone, there's a really good chance that that thing may be 500 megabytes, just depending upon how it was shot. So sometimes those can be gigantic. So anyway, hopefully this was somewhat helpful to you. Well, ignore all that. Let's get back here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this with everyone. So I've got most of the presentations, and I'm going to share. I'm going to go to advanced. I'm going to change that from private to anyone at Central Wyoming College with the link. And the reason why I'm doing that is I don't want to share this with the outside world, and I don't want people to be able to search for it. And I don't necessarily want other people at CWC to be able to find this as well. I mean, it's not like there's anything top secret in here, but this is your private information. So if I save this, now I have the link up here, and this will be kind of funny because I'm going to go to our class. And I'm going to send you a quick link. And here's our class. I'm going to send it to everyone. Link to all about me presentations. So here's the link. I'll distribute the video after it has completed its upload to YouTube. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for watching this super long video, and hopefully you guys are off to a good start on week 2. So for week 2, done with week 1. There's week 2. So this is going to become pretty normal. There's one thing that you're going to need to do. You're going to need to make a blog website, and I'll send out a video about that. But come over here, choose begin. Here's the instructions. Okay. Don't get too crazy. Don't get too overwhelmed. This is very simple. It should take you 10 minutes to complete this. And then once you're done with that, you should upload your link into our contact sheet. So more on that later. Okay, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have questions.